Hi, this is Diane Zach. Welcome to the first video in a series of videos designed to accompany the Clearly Visual Basic book. Each video in the series is associated with a specific chapter. A Take a Look element will appear in the chapter when it's time to view a video. Some of the videos demonstrate the chapter's concepts, while others provide additional information about a concept or cover topics related to the concept. In this first video, we'll take a very brief look at the history of programming languages, from machine languages to assembly languages, and finally to high-level languages. Within a computer, all data is represented by microscopic electronic switches that can be either off or on. The off switch is designated by a 0, and the on switch is designated by a 1. Because computers can understand only these on and off switches, the first programmers had to write the program instructions using nothing but combinations of zeros and ones. Here's an example of an instruction written in a machine language. As you can imagine, programming in machine language is very tedious and error-prone. Unfortunately, machine language is the only way to communicate directly with a computer. Slightly more advanced programming languages called assembly languages came next. Assembly languages simplify the programmer's job by allowing the use of mnemonics. Mnemonics are memory aids, in this case alphabetic abbreviations for certain combinations of zeros and ones. Most assembly languages, for example, use the mnemonic add to represent an add operation, as shown in the example. Programs written in an assembly language require an assembler, which also is a program, to convert the assembly instructions into machine code, the zeros and ones the computer can understand. Although it is much easier to write programs in assembly language than in machine language, programming in assembly language still is tedious and requires highly trained programmers. High-level languages represent the next major development in programming languages. High-level languages are a vast improvement over machine and assembly languages because they allow the programmer to use instructions that more closely resemble the English language. This makes these languages so much easier to use. Here's an example of an instruction written in a high-level language. Programs written in a high-level language require another program, either an interpreter or a compiler, to convert the instructions into machine code, the zeros and ones the computer can understand. Examples of high-level languages include Visual Basic, C++, and Java. In the Clearly book, you will use the Visual Basic language. You can use Visual Basic to create various types of applications, such as Windows applications and web applications. Here's an example of a Windows application that you will create in Chapter 15. You can use the application to calculate your monthly payments for a car loan. Let's say you wanted to borrow $12,000 for 5 years. The application calculates and displays your monthly payments using interest rates of 4% through 7%. You also can use Visual Basic to create applications that run on smart devices, such as pocket PCs. Here's an example of a smart device application. Here again, let's say you wanted to borrow $12,000 for 5 years. The application calculates and displays your monthly car payments using interest rates of 4% through 7%. This concludes the first video. Be sure to also check out the Want More files associated with many of the chapters. Those files contain additional examples and explanations of the chapter's concepts, or they cover topics related to the concepts. I hope you enjoy the Clearly Visual Basic book and its accompanying videos and Want More files.